Lieutenant Andrew Collins watched the massive view screen with tired eyes. The command center of Lunar Base Alpha was silent, except for the soft beeping of monitoring equipment. Everyone was waiting for the news. The holographic display flickered, and the alien ambassador appeared. Ambassador Drelthar of the Zarkesh looked like an oversized praying mantis dressed in shimmering robes. His compound eyes reflected light in unsettling patterns as he spoke. The Galactic Concordat has reviewed Earth's petition for additional colony rights, Drelthar said, his translator converting the clicks and chirps into English. The request is denied. The current allocation of 12 colony worlds is deemed sufficient for human expansion needs. Admiral Patricia Martinez stood up slowly from her command chair. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her uniform bore the scars of a military career spanning 3 decades. She had expected this answer. It was the third denial in 5 years. Ambassador Drelthar, she said carefully, Earth's population has reached critical levels. Our resource management systems are failing. We need more space for our people. The Zarkesh ambassador's antennae twitched. A gesture humans had learned indicated dismissal. Your species must learn better population control methods. The treaty, limits were established for galactic stability. They will not change. The transmission ended abruptly. Admiral Martinez looked around the command center at the faces of her crew. Some showed anger, others resignation. Humanity had lived under these restrictions for 43 years, ever since first contact revealed Earth was part of a larger galactic community. Send for Ambassador Wright, Martinez ordered, and connect me to the United Earth government. It's time. 3 hours later, Samantha Wright entered the Admiral's private office. Ambassador Wright was in her 50s with short blonde hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had spent 15 years trying to negotiate better terms for humanity, within the rules of the Concordat. They denied us again, Martinez said, not bothering with greetings. Wright nodded. As expected. The Zarkesh and the Meridians never intended to give us more room to grow. The treaty was designed to keep us contained. Martinez pressed a button on her desk. A 3-dimensional star map appeared between them, with 12 green dots marking Earth's permitted colonies. Red dots, hundreds of them, showed worlds controlled by other species. When they found us, we were still sending chemical rockets to Mars, Martinez said. They made us sign that treaty when we had no way to refuse, but things have changed. Operation Starburst? Wright asked quietly. Martinez nodded. The United Earth government gave final approval 10 minutes ago. 20 colony ships are ready to depart. Each one carries 500,000 colonists in cryosleep. They'll establish settlements on worlds outside our permitted zone. Ambassador Wright took a deep breath. The Concordat will see this as an act of war. Maybe, Martinez agreed. But we've been preparing for decades. Our defense systems are far beyond what the aliens think we have. We've kept our real technological progress hidden. Lieutenant Collins knocked and entered the office with a data tablet. Admiral, all colony ships report ready status. They await your command. Martinez took the tablet and entered her authorization code. We're out of options, Ambassador Wright. Humanity can't survive with the limits they've placed on us. Not anymore. Wright's face was grave but resolved. I'll prepare diplomatic responses for when the news breaks. We'll need allies. We may find some, Martinez said. There are younger species in the Concordat who resent the control of the founding races. They might support us, especially if we prove we can stand up to the Zarkesh. Collins cleared his throat. Admiral, there's something else. The exploration ship Dakota sent a coded transmission before we lost contact. They found something in the Tau Ceti system. Tau Ceti is outside our permitted exploration zone, Wright said with concern. Exactly, Collins replied. Captain Garcia took a risk sending his ship there. But they found ruins, Ambassador. Ancient structures that predate the Concordat itself. Martinez's eyes narrowed. And the Dakota went silent after reporting this? Collins nodded. Yes, Admiral. Last transmission was 3 days ago. Martinez turned to the star map and expanded the view to show Tau Ceti. One of our colony ships is headed there, the Montana. We should warn them, Wright said. No, Martinez decided after a moment of thought. No new transmissions. The Concordat monitors everything. Once we launch these colony ships, we're committed. If the Dakota found something important enough for the aliens to silence them, then we need the Montana to secure that location. She returned to her desk and pressed the shipwide communication button. This is Admiral Martinez to all personnel. In 5 minutes, humanity will take its destiny back into its own hands. Some will call what we're about to do an act of rebellion. I call it an act of survival. In orbit around Earth, 20 massive colony ships powered up their engines. Each vessel was 5 miles long, carrying not just colonists but all the equipment and supplies needed to build new homes on distant worlds. Engineers and scientists had worked in secret for years to build this fleet, hiding its construction from the watchful eyes of the Concordat. Lieutenant Collins watched the main view screen as the first ship, the Arizona, broke from Earth orbit. Its engines flared blue as it accelerated toward the jump point. One by one, the others followed. "Transmission from President Hoffman," said a communications officer. The president's face appeared on screen. She looked solemn but determined. "Admiral Martinez, the die is cast. May God be with our colonists." "The first ships are approaching jump points," Collins reported. Martinez nodded. "Initiate jump sequence." In perfect synchronization, 20 ships activated their faster-than-light drives. Technology humanity had officially not yet mastered according to Concordat records. 20 flashes of light marked their departure to distant stars. Wright stood beside Martinez, watching the empty space where the ships had been. "How long until the Concordat notices?" "Minutes," Martinez said. "Their monitoring stations will detect the energy signatures." As if summoned by her words, alarms began to sound throughout the command center. "Multiple ships entering the solar system," Collins announced. "Zarkesh design. 7 vessels. They're heading directly for Earth." Martinez straightened her uniform. "And so it begins. Sound general quarters. Deploy the defense grid." Across Earth and Luna, hidden weapon systems emerged from their concealment. Humanity had prepared for this day. The treaty was broken and the galaxy would indeed take notice, but humanity would not go quietly back into its cage. "Open a channel," Martinez ordered. "Let's see what they have to say about our little rebellion." 4 months passed since the colony ships jumped to their forbidden destinations. Earth had been in a state of high alert ever since. The Zarkesh ships that entered the solar system hadn't attacked as expected. Instead, they kept their distance, monitoring Earth while demanding the return of the colony vessels. Eric Donovan checked his instruments again as his research ship, the Denver, dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The small vessel shuddered slightly as it adjusted to normal space. Through the viewports, the Tau Ceti star shone brightly against the blackness. "Status report," Eric called to his crew of 8 scientists and explorers. "All systems normal," replied Susan Miller, his second-in-command. "No sign of Concordat patrols in the area." Eric nodded with relief. They had been sent to investigate what happened to the Dakota, and to check on the Montana colony ship. Neither had sent communications back to Earth in weeks. "I'm picking up a signal," said Nathan Powell from the communications station. "It's weak but matches human frequencies. Put it through," Eric ordered. Static filled the bridge, then a broken voice came through. "This is Montana, found not alone. Ruins are active." Susan looked up sharply. "That's Captain Rivera of the Montana." Eric leaned forward. "Can you clean it up?" Nathan adjusted controls frantically. "Working on it. Signals coming. From the 4th planet. I'm also detecting debris in orbit." A chill ran down Eric's spine. "What kind of debris?" "Ship fragments," Nathan replied, consistent with both human and Zarkesh design. There had been a battle. Eric made a quick decision. "Take us in, but stay alert. Engage stealth systems." The Denver approached the 4th planet carefully. It was a blue-green world, similar to Earth but with larger oceans. Perfect for colonization, which was exactly why the Concordat had forbidden humans from settling here. As they entered orbit, the full extent of the situation became clear. The remains of at least 2 Zarkesh patrol ships floated in space. The key, Montana was intact but showed signs of weapons damage along one side. They survived an attack, Susan said with disbelief. How? The colony ships weren't supposed to be armed. Eric said nothing. Like many captains, he had suspected the United Earth government had secretly equipped the colony ships with defensive capabilities. Now he had proof. New signal coming in, Nathan announced. Video this time. The main screen activated to show the face of Captain Elena Rivera. She looked exhausted, with a bandage across her forehead, but her eyes were bright with excitement. Denver, thank goodness. We've been trying to contact Earth for weeks, but the Zarkesh have been jamming our signals. What happened here? Eric asked. We arrived and began landing procedures when 2 Zarkesh patrol ships appeared, Rivera explained. They demanded our surrender. When we refused, they opened fire. We defended ourselves. She paused, then continued. But that's not why you need to get down here. We've found something the aliens didn't want us to find. Back on Earth, diplomat Kate Johnson faced the full fury of the Galactic Council. The chamber, located on a massive space station at the edge of the solar system, buzzed with angry voices as representatives from 17 species demanded Earth's punishment. Kate stood firm despite being the only human in a room of aliens. At 35, she was younger than most diplomats, but her calm demeanor had earned her this crucial assignment. The treaty was signed under duress, she stated clearly. Humanity had no choice 43 years ago. We were technologically outmatched and isolated. That does not justify breaking galactic law, rumbled Glornak, a massive reptilian being representing the Meridians. His crystalline skin reflected the chamber's lights in rainbow patterns. Your colony ships have invaded protected space. Protected. From whom? Kate challenged. The worlds we selected were uninhabited. No sentient species claimed them. Vexlar, the Zarkesh representative, hissed angrily. His insectoid face clicked as he spoke. The Concordat determines which worlds are open for colonization. Humans were assigned 12 colony worlds, more than generous for a species so young. Kate accessed data on her tablet. Generous? The Zarkesh control over 300 worlds. The Meridians nearly 200. My people are dying on an overcrowded Earth while habitable planets sit empty because of artificial restrictions. The chamber erupted in shouts and protests. Kate noticed something interesting during the commotion. The representatives of newer galactic species, those who had joined the Concordat in the last century, remained quiet, watching carefully. Some even nodded slightly at her words. A loud tone silenced the room. Supreme Arbiter Zol, a being of blue energy contained in a floating mechanical shell, spoke for the first time. The actions of Earth cannot go unanswered. A delegation will travel to the human homeworld to negotiate reparations and the return of illegal colonists. And if we refuse? Kate asked boldly. Then the enforcement fleet will be authorized to take action, Zol replied coldly. As the meeting ended, Kate was approached by Nalith, the ambassador from the Aquarian Collective, amphibious beings who had joined the Concordat only 70 years ago. Bold words, human, Nalith said quietly, water bubbling in the breathing apparatus around his neck. Many younger species feel, as you do about the Founder's control of colony rights. Then why not speak up? Kate asked. Nalith's large eyes blinked slowly. The time was not right, but perhaps now. He glanced around to ensure no one was listening. There are things you should know about the Concordat's founding, about why certain species fear human expansion so much. Tell me, Kate urged. Not here, Nalith replied. But ask your people what they found in the Tau Ceti system. The answer will explain everything. On the surface of the Tau Ceti planet, Eric Donovan stared in amazement at what Captain Rivera had discovered. An enormous structure, clearly artificial but ancient beyond measure, stretched across the valley floor. Parts of it extended underground where Rivera's team had established an entrance. We estimate it's at least 50,000 years old, Rivera explained as they walked through a corridor with walls that glowed with faint blue light. The technology is unlike anything we've ever seen. How did you find it? Eric asked. It found us, Rivera said. When we landed, systems started activating across the planet, almost like it was waiting for us. They entered a vast chamber where dozens of colonists worked at stations, studying various artifacts and control panels. At the center stood a glowing pillar covered in strange symbols. We've only translated a fraction of their language, Rivera said, but we know they called themselves the precursors, and they left messages specifically for whoever would come next. For us? Eric asked in disbelief. For someone, Rivera corrected. Someone they believed would eventually follow their path. And here's the most important part. There are similar structures on many worlds. Worlds, the Zarkesh and Meridians, have kept off limits to everyone else. Eric's mind raced with the implications. They've been hiding this technology, but why? Rivera led him to a panel where a holographic display showed a human brain alongside something similar, but clearly non-human. Because of this, she said quietly. The precursors' neural patterns match human ones more closely than any other known species. Whatever they were becoming, whatever evolutionary path they were on, we're on it too. Eric understood at last. They're not afraid of us breaking their treaty. No, Rivera agreed. They're afraid of what we might become if we find what the precursors left behind. Dr. Alan Bennett carefully examined the strange metal cylinder on his workbench. It was one of several artifacts that Eric Donovan had brought back from the Tau Ceti system. The Denver had returned to Earth just 2 days ago, carrying news that changed everything. Alan adjusted his glasses and ran a scanner over the object again. The readings made no sense. The material wasn't on any known element chart, and it seemed to generate a small energy field without any power source. Any progress? Asked Admiral Martinez as she entered the secure laboratory beneath Lunar Base. Alpha Alan shook his head. This technology is far beyond our understanding, but one thing is clear. It's designed to interact with human brainwaves. Martinez frowned. How can you be sure? We've tested it with brain pattern recordings from various species, Alan explained. It only activates when exposed to human neural patterns, just like Captain Rivera reported from Tau Ceti. Martinez picked up a tablet showing images of the ruins. And you believe these precursors left these artifacts as some kind of… what? A test? A message? Both, perhaps, Alan replied. The translation. Team has deciphered more of their language. They refer repeatedly to something called the Awakening. They were waiting for someone to follow their path. Martinez set down the tablet. The question is, why did the Zarkesh and Meridians hide this from us? Why keep these ruins secret? Fear, Alan said simply. The data suggests the precursors underwent some form of evolutionary jump. They didn't die out. They transformed into something else, something beyond physical form. The Zarkesh recognized that humans might have the same potential. A young officer entered the lab and saluted. Admiral, we're receiving reports from New Eden Colony. Unknown ships have entered the system. Martinez stiffened. Concordat Enforcement Fleet? No, ma'am. Different design. They're requesting permission to land and speak with colony leadership, Indy. The colony world New Eden. Michelle Garcia watched the sky fill with unfamiliar ships. The small settlement of 5,000 colonists had only been established 3 months ago. They had just finished building the main habitat domes when the strange vessels appeared. As colony administrator, Michelle had ordered everyone to shelter in the underground bunkers, expecting an attack. Instead, the lead ship had sent a polite request to land and talk. Are we sure this isn't a trick? Asked Frank Davis, her security chief. Michelle checked the scanner readings again. Their ships don't match Zarkesh or Meridian designs, and they could have attacked already if that was their intention. She made her decision. Allow one ship to land at the outer pad. Keep defense systems on standby. An hour later, Michelle stood at the landing area with a small security team as the alien vessel touched down. It was sleek and blue-green in color, with flowing lines that reminded her of ocean waves. The ship's hatch opened and 3 beings emerged. They walked on 2 legs, but had blue-tinted skin and large, expressive eyes. Gill-like structures pulsed gently on their necks. "Greetings," said the lead alien through a translator device. "I am Ambassador Nalith of the Aquarian Collective. We come in peace and solidarity." Michelle relaxed slightly. The Aquarians were known to be one of the newer species in the Concordat, generally neutral in galactic politics. "Welcome to New Eden," she replied cautiously. "Though I must ask why you're visiting an illegal human colony." Nalith made a gesture that might have been a smile. "Illegal according to whom? The founders of the Concordat? Many species no longer recognize their authority to determine such things." He gestured to his companions. "We have representatives from 6 other species with us. All of us have suffered under the restrictive policies of the Zarkesh and Meridians. All of us have suspected their true motives for centuries." "And what motives are those?" Michelle asked. "The suppression of potential rivals," Nalith said, "particularly those who might access precursor knowledge. We have long suspected the founders discovered precursor ruins and kept them secret. Your people have now provided proof." Meanwhile, in the outer reaches of Earth's solar system, Captain Ryan Dixon's patrol fleet monitored the movements of a Meridian scout ship. The Concordat had maintained a blockade around Earth since the colony ships departed, but this vessel had broken formation and was heading toward the Kuiper Belt. "They're stopping near Pluto's orbit," reported Lieutenant Sonia Peters, "deploying something into space." Ryan studied the sensor readings. "Magnify." The main screen showed the Meridian ship releasing a small, agile probe. The device headed toward a cluster of icy bodies. "What are they looking for out there?" Ryan wondered aloud. "Sir, I'm detecting energy readings from the ice cluster," Sonia said with surprise. "Something's there. Something that's been hidden." Ryan made a quick decision. "Intercept that probe. I want to know what they're trying to destroy." His ship, the Atlanta, broke from the patrol formation and accelerated toward the Kuiper Belt. The Meridian vessel immediately changed course to intercept. "They're charging weapons," Sonia warned. "Defensive positions," Ryan ordered. "But hold, fire unless attacked." The Meridian ship fired first, a beam of energy slicing across the Atlanta's shields. Ryan didn't hesitate. "Return fire. Target their engines." The human vessel responded with a barrage that disabled the Meridian ship's propulsion. As the alien vessel drifted, Ryan's team secured the area around the ice cluster. "Send a team to investigate what's embedded in that ice," Ryan ordered, "and prepare to board the Meridian ship. I want to know exactly what they were trying to hide." Hours later, Ryan stared in disbelief at what his crew had discovered. Hidden inside the ice was a precursor monitoring station. It had been there, in Earth's own solar system, for thousands of years, and the Meridians had known about it all along. "The data core is intact," reported Chief Engineer Joe Lewis. "It contains records going back at least 40,000 years, including detailed scans of Earth and human evolution." Ryan's communication officer turned from her station. "Sir, urgent message from Admiral Martinez. We need to return to Earth immediately." Back on Lunar Base Alpha, representatives from 12 non-founder species had arrived for emergency talks. Ambassador Wright had spent days in intense negotiations, and now an unprecedented alliance was forming. "The Aquarians have provided evidence that the Concordat founders have been suppressing precursor discoveries for centuries," Wright told Admiral Martinez and President Hoffman in a secure briefing room. "They're offering to formally ally with humanity." President Hoffman looked skeptical. "Why now? What do they want from us?" "Access to the precursor knowledge," Martinez guessed. Wright nodded. "Yes, but there's more. The Zarkesh and Meridians are mobilizing their full military forces. They're not just coming to force our colonies to return. They're coming to ensure humanity never learns what the precursors left for us." Martinez's expression hardened. "Then we need to learn it before they get here." Dr. Bennett, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "I think I know where to start. The artifacts respond to human brain patterns. They're like keys, meant to open something much bigger." "The awakening," President Hoffman murmured. "Exactly," Bennett agreed. "The question is, are we ready for whatever the precursors wanted us to become?" The diplomatic space station Harmony orbited Earth like a shining silver wheel. Originally built for trade meetings, it now hosted the most important gathering in human history. Representatives from 18 species filled the main conference chamber, 12 of them having broken away from the Concordat to stand with humanity. Lisa Harrison, newly promoted to chief ambassador after Samantha Wright's retirement, stood at the center of the chamber. At 38, she had never expected to be the face of humanity to the galaxy, but events had moved quickly in the 2 weeks since the discovery of the precursor station in the Kuiper Belt. Today we formalize a new understanding between our peoples, Lisa said, her voice steady despite her nerves. The Tau Ceti Accords will recognize the right of all sentient species to expand to uninhabited worlds, free from the artificial constraints imposed by the old Concordat. Ambassador Nalith of the Aquarians nodded in agreement. For too long, the founding races have controlled access to resources and knowledge. They claimed it was for stability, but we now know it was to prevent the rise of potential rivals. The Au, reptilian representative of the Draken Confederacy, a species that had been limited to just 5 colony worlds for centuries, spoke next. The evidence humanity has provided confirms our suspicions. The Zarkesh and Meridians discovered precursor technology long ago and kept it for themselves. Lisa activated a holographic display showing the locations of all 20 human colony ships. Each of our colonies has discovered precursor ruins. This cannot be coincidence. These worlds were deliberately kept off limits because of what they contained. The signing ceremony took 3 hours as each species added their mark to the new alliance. With each signature, sensor operators reported more ships arriving in the solar system, vessels from races that had chosen to stand with humanity against the founding members of the Concordat. As the ceremony concluded, an urgent message came through from Lunar Base Alpha. "Ambassador Harrison," said Admiral Martinez's voice, "our long-range sensors have detected a large fleet approaching. Zarkesh and Meridian warships, at least 300 vessels. They'll reach Earth in 5 days." On the colony world Liberty, Dr. Alan Bennett worked frantically with his research team. After the discovery of similar artifacts across all human colonies, coordination was essential. Bennett had been sent to Liberty because it contained the largest precursor structure yet found, a massive pyramid-like building half buried in the planet's main continent. "The symbols match on all sites," said Dr. Karen Lloyd, pointing to her data tablet. "They're all parts of a larger system, designed to work together." Bennett nodded as he studied the control panel before him. The strange metal gleamed under the portable lights they had set up inside the structure. Unlike most alien technology, there were no buttons or screens, just smooth surfaces that responded to human touch. "We're running out of time," Bennett said. "The founders know we found the ruins. They're coming to stop us from activating whatever the precursors left behind." Karen placed her hand on one of the panels. It glowed blue at her touch, symbols appearing across its surface. "I think these are coordinates, star maps of some kind." Bennett compared the symbols to the data they had collected. "Not just stars. These show the locations of every precursor site in the galaxy, hundreds of them on worlds throughout known space." He paused, realizing the implications. The founders must have mapped these locations long ago. They've been monitoring them, preventing other species from finding them. A technician rushed into the chamber. "Dr. Bennett, we've established a connection with the Tau Ceti site. Captain Rivera says they've activated their central array." Bennett hurried to the communication station where Rivera's image flickered on screen. She looked exhausted but excited. "Bennett, we've done it," she said. "We've established contact with dormant precursor systems across the galaxy. Data is flooding in faster than we can process it." "What kind of data?" Bennett asked. "Everything," Rivera replied. "Scientific knowledge, historical records, star charts. But most importantly, information about the precursors themselves, about what they became." She took a deep breath before continuing. "They didn't go extinct. They evolved beyond physical form. They created a pathway for other species to follow. Species with compatible neural patterns. Species like humans, Back, in Earth orbit, Admiral Martinez watched the tactical display with growing concern. The combined Zarkesh and Meridian fleet would arrive soon, outnumbering Earth's defenses despite the help from their new allies. "Even with our hidden technology, we can't withstand that many ships," said Commander Daniel Rogers, her tactical officer. Martinez nodded grimly. "We need more time. Bennett's team is close to understanding the precursor technology. If we can activate it before the Founders arrive." The communication officer turned from her station. "Admiral, incoming transmission from the Zarkesh fleet. It's Supreme Commander Vexkar." The insectoid face that appeared on screen was similar to Ambassador Dreltar's, but with battle scars across its carapace. "Human Admiral," Vexkar began, "your species has violated the most sacred covenants of galactic law. Return your colonists to Earth immediately and surrender all precursor artifacts." Martinez kept her expression neutral. "The colonists remain where they are, Commander. As for the artifacts, they weren't yours to begin with. You do not understand what you're meddling with," Vexkar hissed. "The precursor technology is dangerous. It destroyed their civilization. It will destroy yours." "Is that what you've been telling everyone?" Martinez asked. "Our research suggests something quite different. The precursors weren't destroyed, they transcended, and you've been hiding that truth for millennia." Vexkar's compound eyes flashed with anger. "You have 3 days to comply, or we will take action." As the transmission ended, Martinez turned to her officers. "Send word to all colonies and research teams. We have 3 days to unlock the precursor secret." On Liberty, Bennett's team worked around the clock, coordinating with researchers on other colonies. Each site contained different pieces of the puzzle, but together they were starting to make sense. "It's like a key," Bennett explained to Lisa Harrison, who had traveled to Liberty to see their progress. "Each artifact, each ruin, they're all parts of a system designed to open a doorway." "A doorway to what?" Lisa asked. Bennett pointed to the holographic star map floating between them. Dozens of points were illuminated across the galaxy, each one a precursor site. "To the next stage of evolution," he said. "The precursors found a way to transcend physical form without losing their consciousness or identity. They became beings of pure energy and thought, and they left this technology for any species that might one day be ready to follow them." "And the Zarkesh and Meridians?" Lisa asked. "Why hide this from everyone?" "Because they can't use it," Bennett said simply. "We've tested neural patterns from every species. Only humans match the precursor patterns closely enough to activate the technology. The Founders knew this from the beginning. That's why they put such strict limits on human expansion." Lisa stared at the artifacts surrounding them. "So, what happens if we activate all these sites? Do we all transform into energy beings?" Bennett shook his head. "It doesn't work that way. The technology doesn't force evolution. It opens a path for those who are ready, a choice. But even understanding how it works would transform our technology, our science, our entire civilization. And the Founders are willing to start a war to prevent that," Lisa said quietly. "Yes," Bennett agreed. "Because once that knowledge is available to everyone, their control of the galaxy ends forever." Admiral Patricia Martinez stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Station Vigilant. Through the massive viewport, she watched as ships from 28 different species gathered in formation. The Allied fleet was impressive, but still outnumbered by the approaching Zarkesh and Meridian armada. 2 hours until they arrive in weapons range," said Commander Daniel Rogers as he joined her at the viewport. Martinez nodded, her expression calm despite the weight of responsibility. Earth's fate, perhaps humanity's fate, would be decided today. "Any word from Dr. Bennett?" she asked. "Yes, Admiral. Liberty Colony reports they're ready to activate the precursor network. They're just waiting for your command." Martinez took a deep breath. In the 3 days since the ultimatum, Bennett's team had worked non-stop to prepare all 20 precursor sites on human colony worlds. Together, they would form a linked network powerful enough to broadcast the precursor knowledge throughout the galaxy. "They're calling it the human paradigm," Rogers said, breaking the silence. "Our allies, I mean. The way we challenged the Concordat. They see it as a turning point in galactic history. Martinez allowed herself a small smile. Let's hope they're right, her communicator chimed. Admiral, incoming transmission from President Laura Wilson. The president's face appeared on a nearby screen. She looked tired but determined. Admiral, the Security Council has made its decision. We will not comply with the Zarkesh demands. You are authorized to defend Earth and our colonies by any means necessary. And the precursor activation? Martinez asked. Proceed, Wilson said firmly. Dr. Bennett believes the knowledge it contains could transform our civilization. That's worth fighting for. After the president's image faded, Martinez turned to Rogers. Send the order to all colonies. Begin the activation sequence and prepare the fleet for battle. On Liberty, Dr. Alan Bennett received the order with mixed emotions. Excitement at what they might discover, fear of what might happen if they failed. The main chamber of the precursor structure hummed with energy as his team made final preparations. All colonies report ready status, said Dr. Karen Lloyd, monitoring communications. Synchronized activation in 3 minutes. Bennett checked the central control panel one last time. The strange metal surface glowed with symbols that had taken weeks to decipher. But now they understood enough to activate the system. To open the door the precursors had left for them. What do you think will happen? Asked a young technician, voicing the question everyone was thinking. Bennett shook his head. I don't know. The records suggest a transfer of knowledge, not a physical transformation. But knowledge this advanced might seem like magic to us. Karen counted down the final seconds. 3, 2, 1, activate. Bennett placed both hands on the control panel. It recognized his human neural pattern and flared with bright blue light. Around him, similar scenes played out on 20 colony worlds as humans connected with technology left by a species that had evolved beyond physical form thousands of years ago. The chamber filled with light as holographic displays activated, showing star maps, scientific formulas, and images of beings that looked almost but not quite human. The precursors, showing their history, their discoveries, and their eventual transcendence. It's working, Karen exclaimed. All colonies report successful activation. The network is forming. Bennett felt a strange sensation, like gentle pressure inside his mind. Not invasive, but welcoming. Information began to flow, not just through the computers and displays, but directly into his consciousness. He could sense the others feeling it too, a sharing of knowledge unlike anything humans had experienced before. In Earth orbit, the space around the Allied fleet suddenly rippled. With energy, a soft blue glow surrounded each ship, extending outward in waves. What's happening? Martinez demanded as the glow reached the defense station. Unknown energy signature, replied the science officer. Not harmful. It appears to be some kind of data transmission. On the main viewer, they could see the approaching Zarkesh and Meridian fleet. The massive formation of warships had dropped out of faster-than-light travel and was moving into attack position. Then the blue wave reached them. The enemy ship slowed, then stopped completely. No weapons fired, no communications came through. They've halted their advance, Rogers reported with surprise. Multiple ships are powering down weapon systems. Martinez frowned. Are they surrendering? Before anyone could answer, the main communication system activated. But instead of the Zarkesh commander, a strange image appeared. A being of light and energy. Vaguely humanoid in shape, but clearly not physical. Greetings, it said, its voice resonating not just through speakers, but somehow directly in their minds. We have waited a long time for this moment. Martinez stepped forward. Who are you? We were once called the precursors by your kind, the being replied. We evolved beyond physical form thousands of years ago, but we did not abandon this galaxy. We watched and waited for others who might follow our path. The Zarkesh and Meridians found your technology, Martinez said. They hid it from everyone else. The energy being seemed to nod. They found our message, but they could not truly hear it. Their minds were incompatible. They feared what they could not understand, and they feared those who might understand it. Humans, Martinez said, softly. Yes. Your neural patterns match our own more closely than any species we encountered. The potential for growth, for transformation exists within you. The being's glow intensified. We left our knowledge for all who could use it wisely. The founders of your concordat chose to hide it, to maintain their power. But that time has ended. Around Earth, the blue energy field continued to expand, reaching across the solar system and beyond. Reports came in from colony worlds. The same phenomenon was happening everywhere humans had activated precursor sites. What happens now? Martinez asked. Now knowledge flows freely, the precursor replied. To all species according to their capacity to understand. The barriers have been removed. Each civilization will choose its own path forward. On the main screen, they could see the Zarkesh and Meridian ships beginning to withdraw, returning to formation, but no longer advancing. They're retreating, Rogers said with disbelief. They cannot stop what has begun, the precursor explained. The knowledge we left behind now belongs to all sentient beings. The time of hiding, of hoarding wisdom, is over. The being's form started to fade. We do not interfere directly in the affairs of physical beings, but we observe, we witness, and sometimes we guide those who show promise. Humanity has taken its first step on a longer journey than you can imagine. As the precursor vanished, communications were restored. The face of the Zarkesh Supreme Commander appeared, his compound, eyes reflecting confusion and resignation. We are withdrawing our forces, Bexkar stated. The situation has changed. The Concordat as it was cannot continue. On Earth, President Laura Wilson addressed the United Earth government and citizens across human worlds. Behind her, representatives from allied species stood in solidarity. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history, she said. The barriers that divided us have fallen. Knowledge that was hidden has been revealed. And humanity, by breaking a treaty imposed upon us, has helped create a more just and open galaxy. In the precursor chamber on Liberty, Dr. Bennett watched as new information continued to flow through the activated network. Scientific breakthroughs, medical advances, faster-than-light technology far beyond current understanding. The precursors had left them everything. It will take generations to understand it all, Karen said as she joined him. Bennett nodded. That's the point, I think. They're giving us a path, not an endpoint. The journey matters as much as the destination. He looked up at the holographic image of a galaxy filled with points of light, each one a world where knowledge now flowed freely. We broke their treaty, he said quietly, and in doing so, we helped free the galaxy.